There's healing in the name of. There's salvation in the name of.
We're praying also for this protest and the things that are going on with our police and our community. And really, the issue is much larger than the death of humans, our black males. That is the thing that's sparking it. That's the igniter, as you may realize if you go back in history. The only times that we have had this kind of a response, this kind of a reaction, was when someone was killed, or in the Roger King case, when he was beaten. And it's caught on video and people are able to see the things that are happening. And so there's outrage as a result of it. I want us to be aware, and I had to really start thinking about this because there is a call, for calm and peace and quiet and all that kind of stuff. But I began thinking and began pondering and, listening to various commentators and things in news media. And then even as I'm researching and finding out even more and more of the problems that we're having. But if you go back even to the Bible, whenever there was a need for drastic change, it always came at a cost to people. There was always a struggle. There was always a fight. There was always some type of violence that was necessary to move, because you had a situation that there was a threat to power. There was a threat to position, and for those things to be dealt with, violence just became a part of the way that it had to be resolved. God used it in dealing with his people when he wanted to chastise them. He allowed them to be overthrown. He allowed them to be taken into captivity. He allowed them to experience harsh treatment and difficult struggles, but to bring about change. There's sometimes change will not happen without problems, without discomfort, without issues, without somebody experiencing something that they did not want to experience because it was painful. But real change, real deep change, particularly when it deals with deep issues, there is going to be problems. And so let us not think that change is going to happen easily, and it's going to happen peacefully. It's just not. It's not. People do not respond when things have been done peacefully. Our American Revolution is a testament to that. They got tired of being taxed without representation, and they started a war over it. They started a war. We don't want your authority over us any longer. And that's been the history of humankind. Go back to Genesis and you'll see every time there was need for a change, there became an uproar. There became a revolution that occurred. And there was loss of life. There was destruction of property. There was people enslaved. There was people that was, and even to bring about the end of slavery. I mean, they went to war to end slavery. We went to war in Germany to end the expansion of the Nazi regime and their killing and their murdering of people and Jews. We have to realize that war is a part of human history. We are praying, and I'm praying that it don't get to the scale where it is violence that is unrestrained. hopefully that we can resolve these issues, resolve these things in a way, in a manner that would allow there to be a proper distribution of resources and benefits that this nation will make available to everybody on an equal level, where justice is equal, where healthcare is equal, where people's rights are they're treated equally. We have to pray for those things. We have to believe for those things. But then there's times where action comes in. And I must say that I am encouraged, because when I see many of these protests, you see blacks, you see whites, you see Asians, you see Hispanic, you see more and more people of different demographics that are getting involved. And even more than that, it is expanding around the world. I mean, you go all the way around the world. What's going on in America is impacting the world. So there will be change. This, though it is, you know, you can see it in the embers there in the civil rights movement in the 1960s and the death of Martin Luther King. But this has just manifested. This has just continued to grow and mushroom. Why? Because it has not been properly resolved. It has not been addressed in an appropriate way and manner. And with the ability to have videotapes, to have evidence that people could see up front what is going on, it cannot not be ignored any longer. It cannot be ignored any longer. And so there will be changes that happen, and hopefully it doesn't get totally out of hand where there's another civil war. But as more and more people get involved, and more people are awakened, as more people become conscious of the environment that people have been living in and suffering through, and no longer willing to tolerate it, we have to realize this is just part of the struggle for freedom. And it's been a part since humankind. Since humankind. It is unfortunate it's that way. And the truth of the matter is, when Jesus comes back, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a fight.
Another war.
So let us look at this and understand we are praying for change. We're praying for there to be a resolution of this matter where the police officers in our community could come in harmony and understand it's not all of the police officers. It's nowhere near all of them. But however, there is a culture, and there are people that's in it that have protected those that have done wrong. And they've allowed them to get off without being prosecuted, not being properly held accountable for their actions. And so we have to bring those things into the forefront so that there is not a police state where we are controlled and dominated by our police or by our military. This is not what this country is supposed to be about. And so we are now under a microscope. But I believe God has some things that he's trying to accomplish and show to us. Trying to reveal. There's things that go on in our heart that we are blind to. Things about our society. I mean, things about the way people interact, things that we have gotten numb to, that had to be awakened, for we to search our heart to find out why do we allow certain things to go on and persist. So let us look at this as an opportunity for there to be real change. Real change. Okay, I needed to speak that so that you would know where I stood on these matters. I don't want to be someone that is a chameleon, that is closing my eyes, burying my head in the sand. No, I want you to know that there is a real problem that has been festering for decades, for centuries, and it had to come to the surface. Had to come to the surface. And that's what God does in our life. Really, what's going on out in society is what happens in our personal life. When we're unwilling to face the real deal with what's in our heart and what's in our mind and the thoughts that we got going on. And when we don't confront it, when it is presented to us in a normal, hospitable, rational way, all of a sudden, trouble comes in. And trouble is designed to highlight and to bring out the conflicts that are brewing under the surface, things that people are blind to, and things that we are blind to. And I want to use this as a platform to go into our message on today.